Hello, welcome to the Rutter podcast. The podcast that topples your TBR one book at a time. So today we're talking about books like or authors like Emily Henry. So these are recommendations. If you finish A Big Beautiful Life, we're going to finish all Emily Henry's backlist and you're like, what do I read next? We got the tea for you. We got the jar. So Amy is our guest today. Amy is my go-to book recommender, book taster, book reviewer. She's the one who reads the books and tells me what I need to read. So she's the source of the Watch Reader podcast recommendations. So Amy,
behind
tell
the
us a little bit
scenes,
what you've been up to. Yes.
Not much has really probably changed since the last time I was on with you. Same old reading to escape and keep my sanity. And that's pretty much it.
Yes. And you're in Arizona and it's 40 degrees on April. So
yeah, it's April 2nd and it's freezing. And I'm not sure what's happening. We're coping. My kids are pissed, but yeah, it's 40 degrees and I'm sitting here with a blanket.
Yes, I gotta tell you, that weather, it just reminds me of Syracuse weather, which Syracuse, upstate New York, is like Swift's capital of the U.S. And we will have snow, we'll have some cold weather in April and as long as May. But I don't expect Arizona to be in that same level of weather.
I know a lot of people, when they hear that we do get some seasons in the town where I live in, are like, what? You live in Arizona? I'm like, no, we get snow. And it's not a lot. Trust me, it's 2 or 3 times a year that it actually sticks. But yeah, we have a little bit of seasons, but I'm not in Phoenix. I'm up in the northern part of the state. So yeah, it's not all, it's still desert, but it's not all 120 degrees. Our summers are 90s, 100s, not 120 plus. No, thank you. Done with that.
Yeah, you're so that we got humidity here in Florida. So
exactly. And the alligators.
Yeah, and alligators. For the reader and listener who's listening, I got a notice from a building, and I shared this with Amy, that my building, my neighborhood, there are some alligator sighting. And there's a couple alligators, not just one. There was one a couple of years ago. Now there's multiple alligators. And they reminded us there's alligator mating season happening. So they're going to get it on. So we're going to have some romance novels based on alligators coming soon.
Yeah, alligator romance, Rex. Alligator
romance. No, I have to be careful.
Crazy.
So now I have to message my friends. I was like, I'm walking into the building where the alligators are hanging to pick up my mail.
Insane. I can't even imagine. We were talking about, how do you protect yourself from an alligator? I don't think you can.
I don't know.
It's scary.
I need to Google search that. Maybe ChatGPT will tell me what I have to do.
Yes, that's a good combo for ChatGPT. Yes, definitely.
How do I protect myself from alligators? Because there's no alligators. ChatGPT.
Crazy.
So we both have read Emily Henry's most of their backlist. I think we have read the whole series. So we were looking up to receive arcs for The Big Beautiful Life. As Anya and a physical copy, Joel called the art police because there was some conversation on Threads about people.
Yeah.
We should talk about that.
About it.
Threads is accessible for drama and rage baiting. So
absolutely.
A few weeks ago, this girl decided that because ARCs were sent out to influencers in the Berkeley Influencer Program, that some people who were no longer in the influencer program were receiving those ARCs illegally from their friends. And she started doxing these people and saying, "This is illegally. I'm going to email the publisher. I'm going to email the staff. Me alerted me from the ARC police is coming to you."
Yeah, she took the time to look back on stuff and see, so-and-so complained that they weren't a part of Berkeley anymore. But how are they reading this book? And we're talking about e-arcs, by the way. We're not talking about coveted physical arcs. We're talking about ebook arcs. And this girl decided to make a troll account to go and, like you said, be the ARC police. And it was the most unhinged, crazy thing I've seen in the book world in quite a while. And there's always unhinged crazy. That was rough. I was like, what is even happening? We're talking about a dang ebook MHen arc. Are you serious right now? How about read a book, touch some grass? I can't even.
And I hate to bring it to our listeners who are involved in the influencer world, in the Berkeley world. Berkeley sends arcs at random times to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
They deny on NetGalley. And it's a pretty common status. They deny everyone on NetGalley. But they have a list of influencers, bloggers, media in specific. Amy and I were both on those lists. We're in other lists.
No.
Get sent the same books. We get sent physical books. We get sent.
Yes.
And then we also have access because we're both in this world we have access to the audio version of it too.
Right.
That's a separate group. And so there's multiple ways to get an ARC. It's not just one way. If you're an influencer,
No.
it's the only way. It does not. It's fine. We're not in the influencer program. And we get
No, I got kicked out this year. So of their main Berkeley program, which is fine because like you said, I have relationships with different publicists. I get emails at least multiple times a week for e-arcs of stuff. Like they're pretty generous with e-arcs. I think once you've been in the space for a while and you cultivate those relationships, you can get the ebooks. So for this girl to act like it was so unheard of, like they never do it besides the influencer program, it's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And not to mention, they do have books on Edelweiss too.
Yeah.
So it's like they could have got it on there and not been in their program. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
insane.
There's booksellers, there's librarians, there's media. There's
absolutely
bloggers.
Yes.
Bloggers.
Yes.
Bloggers like this. I'm a blogger. You're a blogger. We actually are blogger list that we don't get kicked out. I hate to break it to you. Bloggers.
Berkeley likes bloggers, by the way. I don't think people realize that. And people are like, blogs are dead. And it's, well, Berkeley doesn't think so.
No. And we are not getting kicked out every year. We don't have to reapply.
No, I know. Imagine that.
Imagine that. So the ARC release was added. It's a going. I think if you want to find yourself the bookish tea of the drama of influencers and be jealousy, Threads is a great place to find who gets a PR ARC, who gets invited to the PR trip, what's going to happen.
Brand trips, it's always something. Daily, there's a new
and
thing
people
going on.
When they're like, I did not get this ARC. I will be thankful. I'm give everything for this ARC. How do I get this ARC? I can't.
I can't with that either because at the end of the day, I love getting ARCs. I think we all do because why else would we be doing this? It's super fun. But if I don't get an ARC, I can put it on hold at the library. I can buy it. You know what I mean? There's lots of different options for it. It's not the end all and be all. Like you're going to be okay if you don't get to read Emily Henry's book early. It's going to be fine.
And chances are, if you request it from the library early enough, you'll get it on publication day.
Yeah, you might be first. I used to be the queen of that before I entered this space back in like 2014. I figured that little hack out and was like, this is the best thing ever. Like, I thought it was great to read it on publication day or be like first or second in line. And then some libraries will let you request books and you could ask them to buy the titles. And so that's a whole thing you can do too. And that is free and you don't have to apply for anything. It's just library. I don't know. People are way too crazy about get a library card, get multiple library cards. It's really fun.
And it's free. It's like you're actually saving money.
Yes.
And we're in inflation. We're in recession happening. So this is a great place to get free books. And it does not.
And I know you have resources on how to get the library cards and all that. So you've done the work for them already. They can just look at your posts and your Substacks and see all the ways to do that.
Yeah, I review the libraries. I'm not a resident library person in the Substack. So if you want the reviews, you can go to Substack. I'll link it in the show notes. There's libraries for romance readers, cozy mysteries, actually audiobooks, new releases. There's a library for everyone that you can pay for a nominal fee, less than $100 for a year. And you can borrow as many books as you want. They don't limit how many books you can borrow. So,
yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Big Beautiful Lie. Let's talk about
Great Big Beautiful Lie. Did you end up finishing it or did you?
I just stopped with some new reviews. So we're going to talk about why.
It's hard to say without spoiling too much, but it was just not, the romance was not romancing for me. And I know that it's been said that this isn't her typical romance, and I'm okay with that. I read a lot of books that are more like women's fiction or just plain old contemporary fiction with a romance side plot. But this one was just so flat. I did not feel chemistry. I don't know if you noticed this or if I talked to you about this, but she talked about how tall they were every time they sat at a table together.
Right. Yeah, she was actually,
like 500 times.
He was asking, I think she asked the guy, do you date people from 5'3" or less? Because the little short pixie girl. I'm like, but like, how does this make sense?
Who cares? I don't care how tall they are and their knees bump every time they sit at a table together, first of all. And I mean, we heard that like 10 times. It was ridiculous. And then there was like this historical piece where there are two writers and they're fighting for the same job to write this famous lady's
but it's not exciting
memoir. Yes.
But it's not exciting as Evelyn Hugo. Like that's
an insult to say that it was Evelyn Hugo. They wish they could be Evelyn Hugo. And it was boring. And they went way back. So they went way back to like her distant relatives. It's not even her life. And I'm like, why are we talking about her great grandparents and their journeys and all this? And it was very boring. And then we would switch back to present day, and it was like a lot of push and pull between them, and not the good kind of tension and push and pull, the annoying type where it was like, okay, like just figure it out or don't. Like the banter wasn't as good. It was a little bit there in parts, but it wasn't like, that's what I love about her books. The banter is usually so good. And I saw someone say they're a knockoff January and Gus, and that sums it up the best for me. Like they wanted to be them so badly, and it just,
They're the TV
it was
version
bad.
of our favorite comparison. They're the TV version of
Yeah, the T-mill. Yes, exactly. And then I kept thinking in the end, everything would tie together. And there was this big thing that happened, but it was not worthwhile to me. I felt like I wasted a lot of time for such a lackluster revelation, I guess I could say, in the end. And I was just super disappointed and was like, me and you got to talking, and we were like, there's so many other books that are better than this.
And
That's why we're here, because my bad review of her book is not going to matter at all. She's doing just fine. Without my endorsement. So I'm like, well, why don't we talk about these books that maybe need a little bit of help? I'd rather put my name behind that than worry about my review for Great Big Beautiful Disaster is probably what it should have been called.
Yeah, I went to it, I think the first 2 hours, and I was like, I noticed some issues, but I really did not like the historical fiction part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a historical fiction girly. Like, I don't like dual timelines. I don't even like dual timelines, the second chance. I'm like, no, I want to be a person girl kind of person. I don't like the past. Yeah. It's just not my thing. And if it's a past, it needs to be like Evelyn Hugo. There's like a juicy, gossipy.
Yes.
Something like, okay, I want to know. But this was just like, what am I hearing about this lady? I'm like, I thought she was a top-morning darling. I'm like, give me the gossip. Give me like the juicy like stuff. But this was just like,
it never did. It never got juicy. I didn't think.
Yeah, why are we talking to this lady? Like, she doesn't have anything interesting other than she's been hiding. But that's not interesting. Yeah. And she's rich. I'm like, no, I want some like celebrity spotlighting, or I want something that's just
salacious, something juicy, like you said, like something that's that'll keep me invested. And that it was definitely missing that piece. So,
but Julia,
it was a bummer.
But Julia does a great job narrating.
She's always great. Yeah, she's great, and I credit her for even finishing. But like I said, I kept thinking like, well, she's going to tie this all together, and then it was like, and she did it. And then it was like this weird epilogue too that was like really fast, and you're just like, what in the heck just happened? I don't know. The whole thing was just kind of jarring, and it just didn't feel like her books, honestly. It really didn't. I don't know if it was like a rush job, or I don't know. It felt really like a big departure from her normal books, because I have enjoyed every single one of her other books, some more than others, but I have liked them. Yeah. It's not like I hated any. And this one I really was like, nah. No, thank you.
All right. Well, let's talk about books that deserve better love than Big Beautiful Liar.
Yes.
Chapter. However, the book is called. Let's talk about some. These books released this year, so you should be able to get them from the bookstore or get them from the library. You might have to do something a week, and I'll give you a backlist recommendation from last year's another author. And these authors you can actually have backlists that you can binge on, except one of them. I think it's one that's a debut, but other ones, you have more books to binge on, and they're excellent books that deserve more love. So,
yes,
with our recommendations.
Okay, first was Passion Project.
Yes.
Did you read this?
I actually just have the audio. So
you got to try the audio. It was so good on audio. That's how I read it too. It's so good. It's a debut. Mm-hmm. It's Passion Project by Layne. I don't know if I said her name. It's set in New York City. And I think it is a mix between Promise Me Sunshine, which I loved, and P.S. I Hate You, which I also loved.
Yeah.
So, because there's a grief element. So Bennett, the main character, her ex died, and she just can't like move on. Like she's trying, but she's in New York, and she's like suffering in it. It's not one of those, oh, New York is magical, everything's going my way books. It's like she's can't find her place. She's missing her spark. She can't find her passion. So the meet cute was my favorite. I thought it was funny, and it's meet cute loosely. She has this date set up with this guy, Henry, and she ends up standing him up. And then they run into each other later, and he's, oh, you stood me up. I don't want to go into too much more detail because there's more and it's funny, but it was cute and unique. And Henry is like the biggest cinnamon roll which I love. So anyways, they decide to be friends and he's going to help her get her passion back. So they're going to do something every Saturday in the city to figure out what maybe her passion is. And they do crazy stuff. And so it's friends to lovers and it's a super slow burn as she's working through her grief, but it was just so good. If you like books set in the city, like this is perfect. And I love those kind of books. I have another one. I think I have 2 more on my list that are both set in New York. So I love that. But yeah, it was such a good debut. She had good banter. They had good chemistry. Like I said, it was a slow burn. And I don't always love that, but it really made sense for them too.
So this sounds like my 2012, 2015 era in New York City where I'm looking for my passion, looking for something else, getting outside my comfort zone because my life was so tough.
Yeah.
I would know, like, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, shitting stuff. I was trying to figure out like what was my meaning. And I was going through emotional turmoil, like that like emotional grief.
Yes.
I was crying in the subway. I was crying outside. I was like devastating. And I saw a tweet, I saw a TikTok that I think I share, and I'll share it in the show notes. Basically, New Yorkers are kind. They're not nice. They're kind. They'll give you the tissue. They'll leave you in your space. They're not going to ask you like, oh, how are you feeling? They're like, they will not care about you. They'll let you cry and stuff like that. And then other places are nice. They'll ask you what's up, but they're not kind. So set in New York, have a devastating breakdown, and then try to find back.
Yeah, it was just, exactly. I think you'll love this book totally then because you'll be like, oh my gosh, that was me. Like
that was me
10, 15 years ago. Yeah. But it was exactly like what you were saying. Like she's emotional. She's a wreck. She just can't find any motivation. And she's just at the end of her rope. And she's, what does the city even have for me anymore? And like seeing her rediscover that, the author did a great job with that for sure.
It was some more New York books that did not bother us. At least the other New York book they have did not bother me. Because the authors got it right. So these are good foundations.
Yes, exactly. If they get it right, then it's fine, right?
Yes. All right. So tell us the next recommendation.
I know this is one that you love too, but Summer in the City.
Yeah.
This is another New York book.
Got New York right.
She got it right. I love this one because I got like those early 2000s rom-com vibes.
Yes.
And I'm always searching for that. You know, that was a time. That was just a different time of books and movies and all that kind of stuff. So when getting those vibes of that, I was like, finally, I love it. But I thought the premise was cute too. So she's a screenwriter with writer's block and he's a billionaire and they live across from each other. And I love a billionaire that does ridiculous things. That doesn't bother me. Yeah, of course, it's not going to happen in real life. But yeah, I want to see these millionaires buy someone a whole building and private helicopter and all that kind of crazy stuff. So I love that. I think that was fun. What other?
Yes. Well, like use your money for that, not for taking shit away from us.
Yeah, exactly. But there's fake dating too. And like you said, it's the city setting is very authentic and you get lots of that. Oh, and then, I said they're neighbors. They're neighbors, enemies to lover, billionaire, fake dating. So fun tropes together, a summertime. It'd be perfect to read in the summer, obviously, but I read it like a month ago and you read it a while ago too. And it was just super fun. And this is her adult debut, I believe. I think she writes maybe?
She writes YA fantasy, I think.
Fantasy, that's what it is.
This is her rom-com debut. And I loved it. I didn't love this idea of bucket list, but she had a list of settings that she needed to write the story. And so it was like this bucket list item. So they'll meet together and explore this parts of the city. And there's one bucket list art that I actually wanted to do and I did not get to do. And maybe I'll do it someday, which is walk all the way from Broadway, from the 100-something street all the way to the bottom of the street in one day. Because you could truly...
I love that part.
I love that part. And like the stops that she did, because I used to go, when I lived in New York, one of my favorite things to do was to go for walks out of nowhere. Like just had no plan, just
randomly go. Yeah.
Randomly go for a neighborhood and just walk and just stop at places, stop at coffee shop or stop and try to like different things or stop like why there's a line there. Is this actually like worthwhile? Like what is happening? Or is there a celebrity or there's like a free thing? Like,
are they filming a movie? What's going on here? Yeah.
I used to get like randomly walking in the street, movie premieres, like movie screenings where that like they'll be like handing out like, hey, there's a movie screening this day. And you come and and it's free. It's like a free
fun.
So it's like a fun, so it gets a vibe. It's a great New York book. And yes, he does the
Yes.
grand gestures, and they fail miserably, which I think I appreciate. The fact
totally.
that it fails miserably, but it's lovely.
Yes. Yes, the one at the end specifically I'm thinking of, I don't
Yeah.
want to say, but you know what I'm talking about. That's funny. It's funny. It's like realistic. You're like, yeah, it's not always going to work out. And she's not always going to jump on the back of your horse and ride away into the sunset.
Yeah. So from Alex Astor is
Yes.
must pick. And if you buy the hard copy, it's beautiful. It actually has spray edges.
Oh my gosh. So pretty. When they sent me a copy of that, I was like, this is beautiful. And I like, you know me, I don't keep mini books. I'm selling them. That baby is on my shelves. She's too pretty.
Yeah.
And I love the book too much.
I do have an arc, so yeah, actually, it's in my arc.
Yes, heck yeah. Definitely worth it.
Awesome. All right, next recommendation. What do we have?
Any Trope But You by Victoria Levine.
Yep.
I loved this one. It seems kind of funny to say that I'm reading that it was released in the spring and stuff, because I'm like, why wasn't this released in the winter? It is a winter book, but it didn't really matter. I mean, yes, she's in Alaska and there's a lot of snow and all the elements and there's a lot of outdoor stuff, but it really didn't bother me. The premise here is that she's a romance author. What is her name? Margot, I believe. She's a romance, really popular, well-known romance author. And she is doing an interview with a bookstagrammer on a live. And someone leaks this secret file she has called the Happily Never After file, because as much as she's a romance author, she doesn't really believe in happily ever after. So she changed all the endings in all of her books just for her own personal entertainment. And it gets leaked and she gets canceled, obviously. Everyone freaks out. But it was just such a funny way to start the book.
Yeah.
And being in the romance community too, it's so fun to read about stuff like that happening, like a dramatic thing that seems like something you hear about on Threads. Oh my God, did you hear about the romance author that doesn't believe in love? Like, it was so cute. And the whole book is one big love letter to romance, honestly. She plays with every trope you could think of, which was so fun. I mean, you can't make a list of the tropes in this book because they're all there. But my favorite spin on it was only 110.
Yeah,
only one bed.
The only one.
Yeah,
they have to
so cute.
Which one? Not just a 10. They have to stay in the same sleeping bag and like share contact, body contact.
Yes, because she gets way too cold, and of course he has to warm her up. And I thought it was kind of funny that like his name is Forrest, like and she acknowledges that kind of stuff in there. Like, she's in on the joke. She's not trying to be cheesy. So I thought it was really cute. And I thought the romance was great. I thought their chemistry was good. All that was fun. But I love the secondary characters in their relationships as well, too. Like her and her sister's relationship was great. Him and his dad. Like, there was a lot of that secondary stuff going on that was really good. It wasn't just about them.
Yeah, I appreciate that sister sending her letters.
Yes.
For those letters, it was like a purpose of, you got to get out of your comfort zone. I'm going to send you a letter.
Yes.
Like, she was stranded in Alaska. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no communication. And she's like, trying to write a mystery novel. And then no, like, her phone, a romance novel. So it's like a really fine one. I actually haven't finished. I loved it. I read like 50%, but I've been reading as a struggle. But I just got the audiobook, so I'm looking forward to finishing it.
I was just going to say, try the audio maybe. I think the audio would probably be really good. But yeah, the last half is just as good. If you like the beginning, you'll like the end. It's cute. Again, another debut. Pretty impressed. Yeah. Excited to see what the author does next for sure. But yeah, I thought that was a fun one. And that's actually going to be our pick for me and Sarah's book club for April.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the announcement comes out in a couple of days. But yeah, that's what we're reading. So excited about that.
I'm excited. And by the way, do a plug-in for your book club, Spice and Swoon.
Spice and Swoon, we're on Substack and Instagram, but more active on Substack. But yeah, it's a romance book club that I host with my friend Sarah from Really Into This. And yeah, we pick a book every month and do low-key chat about it. And sometimes even as hosts, we read the books and sometimes we don't. We pick one and we chat. And sometimes it's, I didn't finish it. We're just very low maintenance, no pressure. And we just try to pick fun, good books. And sometimes we pick great ones and sometimes we pick duds.
Yes. I try to
I'll be honest.
I try to join as many times as I can.
Yes.
I love the community because there's like, we had a stable member who reads all the books and actually has.
God love her. She's my favorite.
She's so awesome. And she's
really is.
She reads ahead. She knows what's happening. She has a take on it. She rates them. And it's great. It's a great motivation. Talk to a reader. Truly. She's amazing. She keeps us going. That's for sure. I'll link this Substack to the show notes. But if you actually follow my Substack, she's Spicy Swoon is recommended. So you can join whatever Substack and it'll recommend it. So
thank you.
So all right. And that final recommendation is
Cara Bastone. Promise Me Sunshine.
Cara,
I love her.
Cara writes the best Brooklyn romances. They're all set in Brooklyn. But she doesn't set in like the perk slip. She sets in like the hidden Brooklyn neighborhoods that like real people live there. And it's just slow burn. They're so good. You're like, I don't know how this is going to work. And they always
work. She is the queen of the slowest burn I've ever read in my life. I always say that about her books. And one time I tagged her in a review. That was good. Like, it was glowing. But I was like, this was the slowest of slow burns. And she's basically, that's my specialty. She's so good at it, though. And usually that irritates me to no end. I'm like, just kiss her already. But she does it in such a meaningful way. I don't know if it's because usually her characters are going through so much emotional stuff. And like, so it doesn't make sense for them to jump into a relationship. But with this one, with Layne, her best friend died. So she's like deep in the grief and all that. So it made sense that like she was crying on the subway or crying in public. Like she just could not get her life together. So why would she be ready to jump into a relationship? So seeing their relationship come together was so cute. And like you said, she does so well with the setting. And it's not like the ritzy, unattainable neighborhoods. It's cute. She just, I don't know. And I loved Miles. He was the sweetest, little, most tender, patient man ever. I just thought they were so cute together.
Is this on a vote? Because I haven't read. I saved this one. I'm saving this one for guilty pleasure, like a day. And I'm like, something to be read. Is this one set on a vote based on the? Or
they do a couple of. I think they read The Fairy.
Okay,
maybe that's why. I'm trying to think back. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since I read it. I think I read it in January or February. But I mean, maybe this is what happens when I read too many New York books, though. I'm like, which one was it? But they might do the fairy ride in that one. I believe they do.
Perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, she's definitely one of my faves if you want emotional, character-driven romance. That's not light. You take care if you're like got triggers for grief and all that kind of stuff, because it is get heavy. But there is a happily ever after. So it works out in the end.
Yeah, and for Cara, I would encourage you to read her written books first as opposed to audio. The audios are excellent. She does them really great, excellent short audios on Audible. But her debut trilogy is so freaking good. It's slow burn. A slow burn. It's like just like juicy. It's not as heavy and brief, and it's just like the fun, like regular people fall in love in New York, and it's just so good.
I love that.
One is a kindergarten teacher and a single dad. And
I think I read that one.
Yes,
I did. That one was very good.
It was for my book club back in 2020.
I was going to say, was it? I think it was a Laura recommendation. I'm pretty sure I read it because of you. Yes, that one was so good.
When she sends a letter to, this is what you need to do with your kid, and he's like, it meant so much. And then she's doing for me, and I was like, oh, she's perfect.
She's perfect for you. Yes. No, that book was so good.
Yeah.
So I can't remember what it was even called, but I do remember it was a Laura rec for sure.
Yeah. So the Cara Bastone is great for downloading your backlist, immersing yourself. Just do a slow burn and stuff. That's a great author.
Yes.
So I do want to do a bonus recommendation for the author that's probably well known, but you just may not be familiar with. Annabel Monaghan. She wrote Nora's off script.
Nora goes off script. Yep.
Nora Goes Off Script, Summer Romance, and something else too. There's 3 books, and she has a book coming out.
I'm trying to think. Nora and Summer Romance are the only ones I can think of too. But there is another one. But she has a book every summer.
She has a book every summer, so she has a new book. But I really like Summer Romance, which is brother, siblings, best friend, forbidden romance. She is in her late 30s. She has kids, single mom. She just got divorced and is trying to figure out her life. And she meets this guy in a dog park, and her dog pees on him, and he's totally fine. And it's so sweet. It's so good. There's actually Nora Goes Off Script. We got a celebrity guy who decided to squat in her house, which I think
I love that book, though. It's hilarious and so out there, but I loved that book.
Yeah. Think about it. So good. Think about a hot celebrity and decide, I'm just going to live to your guest house.
Pretty much.
And it's delightful. So these are really good, like rom-com romances or There's
Yes.
emotional, they're all the characters, so you're not dealing with girls like falling in love. Like they have life and they have like
Yes.
issues and stuff. So
Yeah,
that,
they're authentic for sure.
those are the recommendations. Amy, tell us where you can find you online.
You can find me on Instagram at Novel Gossip, and my handle's the same on all social media. I have a TikTok. Don't follow me there. I don't post anything. That's the only other place that I have a presence and don't do anything with because I'm just not a book talker.
It is good. So Amy, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leave a review or subscribe or like the comment in YouTube. So thank you so much for listening. Bye.